What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you all. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today I thought I would review and look back on a movie that came out 15 years ago that I saw in theaters. And it doesn't seem that long ago, which is really sad. But I'm here to talk about Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. Came out in May of 2009, and I'm probably a week late talking about this. So it didn't come out today on this exact date 15 years ago, but it came out in May. And so I wanted to talk about it. You know, I did my live stream the other night, and this was brought up, and I mentioned that, maybe I will talk about Drag Me to Hell and give my opinion now and what do I think about the movie 15 years later. And, talk about my experience watching the movie in the theaters. So let's give a little backstory. I almost said backstreet. Backstory. Let's give a little backstory on Drag Me to Hell. So, I remember when this was announced that Sam Raimi was returning to the horror movie genre, and his next project was going to be Drag Me to Hell. And prior to that, his last three movies were the Spider-Man trilogy, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. And I love those movies. I'm a comic book fan. I think there's some of the great ones to come out of the 2000s. And some of them are the best comic book movies ever made. Talking about Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. I do have a soft spot for Spider-Man 3, but I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. But I was really excited that Sam Raimi announced that he was coming back to the horror movie genre, and we were going to get Drag Me to Hell. And if you know Sam Raimi, you know that he directed things like Darkman, which is a comic book horror movie film. He directed a thriller in 2000 called The Gift, which I haven't seen. More of a thriller, but you could throw it in that thriller horror movie genre. But he directed three of my favorite horror movies of all time. And, at the time it was a trilogy. Now we got two more. We got two Evil Dead movies after these three movies. But that is his directed Evil Dead movies. So, of course, the original Evil Dead, one of my, top 15 favorite horror movies of all time. I love that. Evil Dead 2. Sometimes I go back and forth if this is better than the first one. I rewatched the first one about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's my favorite one still. I know it goes back and forth. I love this series, but Evil Dead 2... amazing. And then, of course, Army of Darkness, which has grown on me quite a bit over the years. So, and this is a beautiful still look, by the way. But yes, so Sam Raimi, really known for the Evil Dead trilogy, was coming back and returning to the horror movie genre with Drag Me to Hell. So, again, came out in May of 2009. I went, I think, opening night. And this was one of my most anticipated movies of that year. And back then, I sound really old when I say that, but back then, YouTube was still fairly new. And I wouldn't say the internet was fairly new, but it wasn't as huge like it is now. Like, we can see a whole bunch of trailers. We can, Google, like, behind-the-scenes stuff of, movies. And, movie, reviews come out earlier than they used to. So sometimes you had to wait until a day or two, or even the day of, to find out what critics thought of a movie. And now, you find out ahead of time, and it's so different. And this was only 15 years ago. So anyway, solid opening night. Loved it. Had a blast with it from pretty much the beginning to the very end. It was everything that I wanted in a Sam Raimi movie. It was fun. It was suspenseful at times. It was certainly disgusting and gory at times. And You know, I'm not talking, you know, things like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on Left, disgusting and, you know, kind of hard to watch type of movies. I'm just talking about, if you've seen the Evil Dead movies, you know what Sam Raimi's about when it comes to his type of horror movies that he makes. And so he makes that slapstick comedy horror, you know, brings out the gore, brings out the goo, brings out all that stuff. And Drag Me to Hell definitely had it in this. Or Drag Me to Hell had all those elements. And it was just very entertaining. Another thing I love about this is the cast. Our lead actress in this movie, Alison Lohman, hopefully I'm saying her name right, very underrated actress. Like, she was in a lot of stuff during that time. She's great in this. I love that she came back when this Blu-ray came out from Scream Factory and did an interview. That was awesome. Justin Long's in this movie. Of course, he's known for a lot of different films, and, you know, he's known for a lot of horror movies that have become these cult classic films. So I love the cast. I love the story. I love the twists and turns throughout this movie. And if you've seen the film, of course I'm going to spoil the ending of the movie. After everything is done, she still dies and gets dragged to hell. And the premise of the film is she plays I think she's a loan processor. She works at a bank. And this one woman, elderly woman, comes in and she needs an extension on a loan so she can, you know, pay her house, pay her the rent on her house. And, you know, she's told by her boss, you know, if you want to, you know, get this promotion, if you want to get ahead of the team or whatever, that you have to, you know, turn her away. But if you, you know, agree to extend her loan, you know, you can do that, but you won't get the position anyway. So it's her fate, really, that takes place in this movie. And so she decides, because she wants to get this promotion, because she wants to strive for this next level of the job position, that she's going to turn away this promotion. Or this loan, this extended loan for this elderly woman. And whole thing goes down. The woman's begging for her to help her. She's saying, no, I can't do that. It's, you know, part of my job. We've, you know, extended this so many times. And eventually the woman's begging for her help and gets on her hands and knees. And the character played by Alison Lohman pushes her away. And the woman sees that as, you shunned me, you embarrassed me, now I'm going to place this curse on you. And something happens in a parking lot, that's when the curse happens, and throughout the whole movie, Alison Lohman's character is pretty much escaping from hell. And she's got to figure out what she's got to do to get rid of this entity, to get rid of this demon, and to not be dragged from hell. And again, or not to be dragged to hell. And at the end of the movie again, she's eventually still dragged to hell. So, great twist though. I'm sorry if I spoiled it, but it came out 15 years ago. So you watching this video, you probably know about this movie. But if you don't, I apologize for spoiling the ending of it. I like the ending. I like the character. It's heartbreaking what happens to her, especially because of everything that she goes through to get rid of this demonic presence that's chasing her. But it wasn't one of those endings where you were like, oh, it's a happy-go-lucky ending. She gets to go on and live with her boyfriend. No, like, she still gets dragged to hell. Like, after everything that she's been through, all the blood and the bodily fluids and all that stuff that's been thrown at her face, she still gets dragged to hell. Anyway, I love this movie. It is, again, suspenseful at times, very entertaining, funny at times. Like, this is comedy horror at its best, in my opinion. You know, a lot of people like to say, like, you know, the original Fright Night's comedy horror, and I could see a little bit of elements in that, but, like, that's a movie where I'm like, okay, for me, I see that as more scary than anything. The original Evil Dead, while it is, in some people's eyes, cheesy and hokey now, I still find that movie pretty suspenseful. I think out of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy that he directed, that is definitely the scariest one. And there's other horror movies out there that are, considered horror movie comedies that I consider pretty much just horror movies that are pretty creepy and eerie. But Drag Me to Hell is not one of them. This is a perfect horror movie comedy, and one that I adore and I love. So I wanted to talk about this movie today, look back on it. What do I think of it now? I still love it today. I think I said that already, that I still love it, but I loved it walking out of the theater 15 years ago, and I still love it now. Certainly, again, very entertaining with a great cast and great story. And of course, the legend behind this movie, Sam Raimi. So, he's directed two movies after this, Oz the Great and Powerful, and the last Doctor Strange movie, which I love that movie. I think it's great, and I actually love Oz the Great and Powerful. But this is still his best of the three that I just mentioned. So, it's not as good as, like, Evil Dead 1 and 2, but I think it's better than Army of Darkness. Again, Army of Darkness, it took a while for me to, like, fully appreciate and love that movie. So this is I wouldn't say it's my third favorite Sam Raimi movie, but it's my third favorite Sam Raimi horror movie. I think Spider-Man 1 and 2 are better than this. So this is in the top 5 of Sam Raimi movies, favorite Sam Raimi movies of all time. But, yeah, Drag Me to Hell. Absolutely love it. If it's been a while since you've seen it, go back and revisit it. I know some people would comment on the CGI, it's not very good. If I had to nitpick one thing, yeah, like not the comedy, but the CGI in the movie isn't, like, perfect. But for the time that it came out, I'm like, I'll take it and I'll appreciate it. And it doesn't take away from my love and experience watching Drag Me to Hell. So, anyway, that is my look back on Drag Me to Hell. 15 years later. Let me know what y'all think about this movie. Let me know what you thought about it back then, and maybe what you think about it now. Do you still love it? Do you hate it now? Like, what's your thoughts on Drag Me to Hell? I adore the movie still. I love it. So, as always, you guys are awesome. You guys rock. I hope you're all doing well. In with the positive, out with the negative. Go eat some Skittles. And remember to always be yourself, because you are amazing and you are beautiful. Don't change who you are, my friends. Much love to you all. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.